One of the most commonly asked questions that I get is how do I find and source my medieval armies and minifigures? Well, today I am happy to announce that my ultimate guide to building a LEGO Castle army is finally ready. I've created a resource that gives you access to hundreds of really cool medieval minifigure parts on Bricklink, all of them sorted and easy to navigate through. Not only that, but I've also added links that take you directly to the different factions on LEGO Pick-a-Brick. So with one click, you can find all of the Black Falcon parts directly available from LEGO. This project was born out of a desire to create a resource that everyone can use and even contribute to with their own suggestions. The guide is a no-nonsense, pure utility tool that I hope you all will get some use out of. So let me introduce you to it. In the description of this video, you'll find a link to a Google Doc. This is where everything is hosted. The first thing that you'll see are written instructions on how to use the Bricklink wanted lists. But we'll do a video tutorial here in a minute to make it a little bit easier to understand. However, first I'd like to show you how the Pick-a-Brick tool works. If you scroll down to the bottom of the document, you'll find the Pick-a-Brick guide, where there are links to each LEGO Castle faction currently available on lego.com. So if we click on the Black Falcon parts, it brings us directly to lego.com and shows us all of the Black Falcon minifigures and accessories currently available. If you think a part is missing from this page, make sure you have the Show Out of Stock button clicked. That'll show you if a part is currently out of stock, which does happen from time to time. As I'm sure many of you are aware of, LEGO's online Pick-a-Brick page is pretty annoying to navigate, so this should help you find the parts that you actually want to see. I got the idea for this from the LEGO Castle Discord because they have something very similar to this, so shout out to them. I currently have 4 of the factions completed, those being the Black Falcons, Lion Knights, Forestmen, and Vikings. But when the Wolf Pack eventually come to Pick-a-Brick, they will also be added to the document. And that goes for any medieval minifigures going forward. And I'm also considering adding a section for castle building pieces like masonry bricks and other commonly used pieces. If you'd like to see a castle building parts list added to this section of the guide, please let me know in the comments and I'll start working on it. Now before we move on to the Bricklink section of the guide, I'd like to mention a couple of things to remember when ordering from Pick-a-Brick. Number 1. Always remember to order enough parts to bypass the service fee. What is the service fee, you might be asking? If you place an order and the value of the parts comes up to less than $14, you will be charged an extra $7 on top of it. So what this basically means is that you are spending more money for less pieces if you don't reach that threshold. Just take a look at these 2 hypothetical orders that I've created. On the left side, we have an order with 4 Black Falcon bodies and legs, 4 shields, and 4 helmets. And on the right side, we have an order with 4 Black Falcon Knights, fully kitted out with weapons, minifigure heads, everything. The order on the right seems like it would be more expensive, right? But actually, the one on the left is more expensive because its value is under the service fee threshold, which of course means we'll be charged an extra $7. I'm sorry if this is obvious to you, I just want to make sure I get this information out there for people who may be new to Pick-a-Brick. The second most important thing when it comes to ordering from Pick-a-Brick is that you will qualify for free shipping on any orders over $35. So if you're planning on making a Black Falcon army and your order is already at, say, $29, add a couple extra figs to get that free shipping, because you're going to be paying the same amount of money in shipping anyways, so you might as well. And the last thing that I'd like to mention about Pick-a-Brick is to pay attention to where your pieces are coming from. What do I mean by that? Well, LEGO separates Pick-a-Brick into 2 distinct sections. Best Sellers, which ships from a warehouse in your region, and Standard, which ships from Billund, Denmark. What this basically means for you is that if your order has both Standard and Bestseller parts in it, you will be getting 2 packages from LEGO at different times. But it also means that you'll have to hit that service fee threshold again to avoid it on your standard parts order. Annoying? Yeah, but if you're already making a large enough order, you'll be fine. Okay, now that we're done with the Pick-a-Brick section, let's move on to the Bricklink parts list that I've made. But first, a little bit of context for those unfamiliar with Bricklink and its wanted list tool. On Bricklink, there is a really helpful tool that lets you create and manage a wanted list. In these wanted lists, you can add a bunch of different parts, from minifigures and bricks to anything in between. I love them mainly because I can order straight from my wanted list, and it will automatically create carts from different stores around the world with everything on my list. It's an incredibly convenient and time-saving tool that makes buying and organizing LEGO a lot simpler. The only problem with Bricklink is that it is super monotonous and even a little confusing for new users to find the minifigure parts that they want. The search function is very particular with how you have to format your searches, and honestly, it could use a lot of work. So what I've done is I've searched through hundreds of pages worth of minifigure parts to find all the best torsos, legs, helmets, shields, and a ton of other accessories for your medieval LEGO needs. The footage that you're seeing right now is sped up of me searching through the entire catalog of printed legs on Bricklink, and adding all the ones that work with the medieval theme to my list. This took about an hour and a half to do, and it was super boring, but thankfully I'll never have to do that again, because we now have a list of every medieval looking pair of legs ever made. I've also been doing this with the minifigure torsos, but that's taking a bit longer because there are just a lot more printed torsos than there are legs. With that being said, pretty much all of the most popular medieval looking torsos have already been added to the list for you to search through. And as of recording this video, there are a total of 199 torsos added and 196 legs, both in their own separate lists on Bricklink. In addition to this, I've also made a list for every flat silver minifigure accessory, and I've also done the same with the pearl dark gray ones. We also have a list of 110 different minifigure shields that is nearly finished, but it's still missing some of the new releases from 2024. Finally, the last list currently available for download is a mix of various LEGO Castle armors and accessories that don't fall under the other categories. So now, let me show you how to actually obtain and use these wanted lists. First, go into the description of this video and click on the Google Doc link. Once you're on the document, open up a second tab and go to bricklink.com and sign in. Once you're all logged in, hover over the Wants button on the top right of your screen, and then click Upload. Once you're on the new screen, click Upload Bricklink XML format. Once we're here, we can now go back to the Google document and click the MediaFire download link. This will bring you to the 5 wanted lists available at the time of recording. Click on each one that you want and download them. Bricklink is actually going to be releasing a way to share your wanted lists sometime in the future, but for the time being, this is the method we have to use. Once you've downloaded all the ones that you want, we can go back to Bricklink, where you'll want to click here and change the wanted list name. So we'll go to Create New Wanted List and simply copy the name from the file. So in this example, we'll name it All Colors - LEGO Castle Legs. You obviously can name it however you'd like though, whatever works for you. Now that we've done that, we can open the file and we'll copy and paste everything into the box on Bricklink. Once you've copy and pasted everything, we can go ahead and proceed to verify items. That'll take a few seconds, but once it's done, we can scroll to the bottom of the page and hit Add to Wanted List. If we then hit View, we can now see the wanted list with all of the items within it. Now just repeat the exact set of steps for each wanted list until you have them all on your Bricklink. So now that we've done all that, what can we actually do with these lists? Quite a lot actually. As an example, let's create a custom knight by using these wanted lists. So to start off, let's take a torso. That's generally how I start making a custom, so I think that makes sense. We're going to go into the torso wanted list, and I'm going to search for one that I think looks nice. To make it easier to find this torso, I'm going to change the view from 25 per page to 100 per page, just to make it take a few less clicks to find one. Okay, so I think I'm going to go with this chainmail torso, so I'll open that up in another tab, where I can then add this to a new wanted list that will name Example Video. That torso can now be found in a new wanted list where we'll add all the other parts to make the knight. So I'll do that right now by searching through all of the wanted lists that we just downloaded. I'm going to get a pair of legs, a sword, a shield, a helmet, you get the idea. Once we've added all the parts that we want, we can go to the new wanted list that we've created, where we can actually hit Buy All and it will automatically create the carts to buy the knight. I've used quite a few rare and expensive pieces, so he is not exactly cheap. But I think you get the idea. Actually, something to look out for when buying on Bricklink is to make sure that the seller isn't way overcharging for a specific piece. You can do this by clicking Edit to see what they're selling it for, and then you can search for the same part and compare the average price. Just make sure that you're double checking your carts before paying for the whole lot. There is nothing worse than accidentally spending too much money on a single piece on Bricklink. So before I wrap up this video, I'd like to mention a few more things about this project going forward. While there are a lot of parts already on the list, there are still some gaps that I need to fill. An example would be the minifigure dresses and skirt pieces, and the newer printed mid-legs. I just haven't gotten around to them yet, but I will eventually. But if you have a part in mind that isn't on any of the lists and you think it should be, You're in luck because I've included a link to a form where you can suggest new additions to the wanted list. To make your entry, all you have to do is respond to the form with the Bricklink part ID of the piece. And if you'd like, you can also leave a short description or reason for adding the piece. Something that I will say is that I'm trying to keep this list to mostly modern looking minifigure parts. There are a fair amount of older prints in the legs and torso section, but for the most part, I'm trying to curate a list that matches well with the modern LEGO Castle factions. But with that being said, I've included all of the classic shields in the shield wanted list. If there's enough interest in the classic minifigure prints, then I could make an additional classic parts list, so just let me know in the comments below if that's something you'd be interested in. Anyways, I'm just really excited for this project to finally be released, and I'm going to continue to update it over time. If you would like to stay updated on when new pieces are being added, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, because I'll be posting the updates to it on my community tab. And as always, thank you so much for watching.